Hello, welcome back to the show. I did not put out a podcast episode last week, and I know that goes against all the rules of marketing, especially in podcasting world, but fun fact about your friend Holly here, I don't like following the rules sometimes. And I just didn't want to hit publish on something that wasn't aligned with what's on my heart right now, just to stick to my content calendar. And the topic I had planned is great, and I will still put it out so you're not missing out on anything. But it just wasn't sitting right with me at the time. Like my heart just had another message it wanted to convey, but even that was still just kind of like bubbling. It needed a little more time to marinate. So rather than rushing it out or forcing something that just didn't feel quite authentic at that time with the timing, like I just needed to find my words, and I just skipped a week. So there, that was my flex move. So flex. um Anyways, I am going to set the scene for this episode with a poem I wrote last week. It'll kind of like set the stage and give you a glimpse into where I was at, where I am at, because I've just been in my head and just have had a bunch of thoughts going on about like the world we're in and how did it get so messed up. And I feel like for us to be where we are, it has to be spiritual. Like there's no way we could have this level of corruption and deceit across so many different organizations and leadership, and it's just a giant mess. And so I was inspired to write a poem, and I know there's like a series of poems and stuff out there that have the same kind of theme and title, but this is my spin on it, so here it goes. It's called If I Were the Devil. If I were the devil, I'd make sure the people forget their bodies are temples by poisoning their minds and tearing down their health. I'd twist their understanding of self-care, drowning out the still, small voice with confusion and noise. I'd whisper that the gifts of nature, their healing tools, were the very things making them sick. I'd replace the wisdom of plants with potions of poison. I'd tell them to fear the sun while I entertain them indoors, bathed in blue light and distractions. I'd divide them at the table with idols of diet and dogma while sneaking chemicals into their food, waging war on their bodies from the inside. I'd plant experts in white coats to confirm my lies under the guise of safety, their trust, my weapon. I'd give them gadgets and glamour, innovations that keep them from thinking, from doing. I'd set up my idols to preach my gospel as truth. Anyone who dares pull back the veil, I'd silence them, mock them, make them seem small. Yes, if I were the devil, I'd weave my web so seamlessly they'd never see me coming. That's it. We are engaged in a spiritual battle. You are in a spiritual battle that is taking place right now. Are you aware of this? What if the enemy's greatest trick wasn't dragging us down into dramatic display of obvious sin, but what if it was keeping us stuck and sedated, distracted, and too overwhelmed to move? What if instead of shackles, the bondage he used was subtle, like confusion and apathy, just wrapped in noise and excuses? Now, before I dive in, I do want to just take a moment and acknowledge that I know not all of you may share the same beliefs that I do, and that's okay. In this episode, you'll hear me talk about the enemy, God, spiritual battles. And for me, this is just a deeply rooted topic that's in my faith. But if you have different beliefs, like, I encourage you to interpret these ideas in a way that resonates with you. And the enemy, as you can think of that as anything that holds you back, whether it's fear, doubt, self-sabotage, unhealthy habits, and it can be whatever that thing is for you. And when I speak of God, you can substitute that for what your higher power is or what aligns with you, your understanding, universe, whatever. The core message here was what I want you to hear is about breaking free from the things that limit us and stepping into the fullness of the life we are meant to have. And so whatever that looks like for you, I just don't want the words I'm using to distract from that message. So back to my point. Yeah, I think honestly, if the enemy can't make you bad, I think he'll make you busy. He'll make us busy. And your health and your attention aren't just about you. When you're not taking care of yourself, it impacts everyone around you, especially your family. You can't show up fully for your children or your spouse or your calling when you're running on empty. And that's what the enemy wants. He doesn't just want you tired and distracted. It goes so much deeper than that. I think the ultimate goal is to weaken entire generations by keeping us trapped in these destructive cycles. And we are watching this unfold right in front of our eyes right now. I think we're living this. Chronic diseases are skyrocketing. Mental illness is not only rampant, but is being normalized and celebrated. Despite all our so-called advances in science and medicine, our overall health is just declining. Declining is nice. It's tanking. Our mortality rates are rising. How is this even possible with all the technology and treatments and breakthroughs? How are we still going backwards? Is it possibly because the root of the problem isn't being addressed? We're caught in this web of quick fixes and lies, and those are the things that keep us from healing and from clarity. And we're just spinning our wheels. So when you take charge of your health, you're not just doing it for you. You're setting an example for your kids and your family and those around you. And our kids are always watching. If we can rise up and reclaim our health and our focus, our spiritual discipline, we can rise up and raise a generation that is stronger, more focused, more powerful than we ever were. I think there's still hope for us. um, it would just be so beautiful to watch a generation that is equipped to fight back against the lies and the distractions and the confusion, because the devil doesn't need us to fail spectacularly. He just needs to keep us frozen in inaction, just tangled in the confusion and that web he weaves. Keeps us there. We never get started. That's a win in his book, right? The father of lies, his nickname, he whispers things like, "Oh, you're too busy. Now's not a good time. Oh, you'll never figure this healthy eating and living stuff out. It's just too complicated and overwhelming. Why even try? Everything's bad for you." You know, this eat, drink, and be merry mentality, the devil's just persistent. He is relentless. And you know what else? He's patient. He's playing the long game because he knows that if he can keep us distracted or too tired to fight, too overwhelmed to change, he's winning. But I am not casting stones here. I know what it's like living the runaround, the day in, the day out, juggling all the things with work and family and school and like business, trying to keep the house somewhat together and all that chaos. We end up putting ourselves last. Like, if you think about it, when was the last time you actually paused to take care of yourself? Not a quick, like, I'll just grab a snack and keep going, or I'll take a a 5-minute shower instead of a 2-minute shower, but truly taking a moment to like nourish your body and your mind and your soul. If you're having a hard time even remembering when that was, maybe it's time to get back to that. The discomfort of change sucks. It is not a favorite thing for most people. I don't know anyone who likes change, the discomfort of change. The getting there is great. The discomfort of going through it, not so great. I think we're a society of people who would do just about anything to avoid discomfort. And, that's not entirely like a societal problem. Like, I know our subconscious minds are wired to avoid pain and seek pleasure. I know that's a design feature, but I also think we are mentally weak. We have a world of constant convenience. We're so used to the comforts of life that we've stopped feeling the warning signals. We numb the discomfort, we ignore it, or we push it aside. And the problem is if it's left us dulled, numb, and apathetic, really. And as parents, especially as moms, like this apathy is dangerous because we've stopped fighting hard enough for the things that truly matter, like for the protection of our kids. There are forces out there after our children. Big food, big pharma, big tech, our own freaking government, man. These things that used to be like just wackadoodle talk, not so wackadoodle anymore. There are a few conspiracy theories left in the theory category, right? Things are becoming confirmed pretty quickly. Most people, I think they either have no idea what's really going on, or if they do, they just feel too powerless to even stop it. Or they've just accepted it as this is just the way things are. Either way, ignorance isn't an excuse anymore. Like, we live in an age where the information is out there. It's literally at our fingertips. We just have to open our eyes, seek it, put in some effort, use some critical thinking. So many people spend just more time researching their next vacation or the latest cell phone or where to grab dinner, that they just never spend time looking into the food they're feeding themselves or their family. They don't think about the chemicals in the products they use or even read a single health or parenting book. It's like they're willingly staying in the dark about the things that matter most. And the blinking neon sign of this message is that our decisions don't just affect us. We are passing them down. We are passing down our habits, our behaviors, and our mindsets to our kids. They watch us. They absorb everything, the good, the bad, and they will carry those patterns forward to their own children. We are raising the next generation of leaders and world changers. What kind of example are we setting if we stay stuck in unhealthy patterns? If we don't fight back against the distractions and the apathy, they won't either. But if we rise up, if we come together, if we show them what it looks like to take care of our bodies and to quiet the noise and to focus on our calling, we could raise a generation that's even stronger and more focused and more powerful than we ever could be. A generation that won't accept the lies of the world, but instead they'll be bold and clear-minded and just ready to carry out God's mission. It's not just about us. We have to set a good example and equip our children. And again, I'm the first to admit here, like I am not perfect in any way, shape, or form. I'm not up here like preaching to y'all, okay? I think I'm guilty of all of this. And even on another level here as a coach, I think I've been guilty of going too easy on people. I work with a lot of busy moms, and I love being able to help you guys feel healthier and more empowered and, figure out the things that other practitioners couldn't figure it out. Like, I love that so much. But I also know that I've let some people off the hook too easily. And it's because of my own fear. I don't want to seem too harsh or make anyone uncomfortable with hard truths. And I don't want to be mean. But it's been hard for me trying to find that balance of like walking the line of being a, a tough love but friendly coach. And if for the most part it's fine, but I think there have been like a couple clients where I know I could have pushed them harder. Like, they still reach their goals, but I know that there was more for them if I would have just pushed a little bit more. And truthfully, I'm not buying this whole busy mom thing anymore. Like, it's a lie. It's a lie, and I've been guilty of helping perpetuate it. When clients check in and it's the same excuses week after week of life getting in the way. Life is always going to get in the way. Life is going to always be happening. So we need to figure out a way to prioritize ourselves and prioritize taking care of ourselves and taking care of our families and taking care of our children. And if that means cutting out some other things, then maybe that's what it has to be. Because we say our kids are the most important things. We say our families are the most important things. But the way we make excuses for not showing up for ourselves and for our families because of all of our other obligations, it doesn't track. What I've learned from looking in the mirror recently is the devil is in the details. He's in the distractions. He's the hustle, the grind, the false sense of busyness that keeps us from really showing up for ourselves. And once we buy into that lie, that busy is best, devil doesn't have to do much more. We've put ourselves in our own little box, bound by time constraints that are self-imposed. And once we're trapped in that cycle, it's so much harder to break free. You were not created to live like this, sedated, surviving, stuck in these cycles of apathy. You're not supposed to just get by. We were made to feel vibrant and alive and to be clear-minded. But that requires facing some hard truths. It requires looking at what our unhealthy habits are and not just saying, oh, that's just the way I am, and having constant excuses. We have to have a change, ladies. And I'm not just saying like this as this is what I think needs to happen. Like, this is what I hear from you guys. I hear you coming to me and saying, I don't know why I keep doing this. Like, oh, I want to change. It's just blah, 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 blah. List of all the excuses. Like, I know the desire is there. I know you want different. I know you want better. We're just not getting there. So something has to change. We're about to get into the busiest season of the year. We're entering the holidays. From November to January, life just becomes a blur, a whirlwind of events and recitals, parties, potlucks, shopping, dining, feasting, drinking, spending, more spinning. For what? For what? To check more boxes? To uphold traditions that leave us drained and disconnected so we can post cool looking pictures on Instagram, so we can do whatever our neighbors are doing and friends are doing, so we can look like everyone else. We are not supposed to look like everyone else. What if this year, instead of diving into that chaos, what if you paused? What if you held up a mirror and took a hard look at where you're not showing up for yourself? Where are you leaving the door open for the enemy to sneak in, for distractions to sneak in? The enemy can be distractions, anxiety, fear, insecurities, self-criticism, shame, doubt, you name it. What is your ugly enemy truth? What are you hiding inside of you? What are you not facing? And this isn't about vanity. When I'm talking about health and like doing the sugar fast that's coming up, it's not about vanity. It's not about fitting into some worldly ideal. It's about honoring the body that God gave you. We need to be fueling it, moving it, resting it so we can carry out the mission for our lives with purpose and strength and endurance. It's about saying enough is enough. We got to put a stop to the lies that keep us frozen and stepping into the life of freedom that is promised to us. Freedom and abundance, right? We have to face the truth that we can't think clearly if our minds are hijacked by sugar, chemicals, and distractions of busyness. It's nearly impossible to hear the whispers of God when our bodies are screaming in chaos. We are in a spiritual battle. I will reiterate that starting statement. Fasting is a tool that we can use to weaponize our bodies and our minds because there is a bigger picture here. Fasting isn't just about personal health, it's a spiritual discipline. It's a spiritual discipline that can bring clarity and strength, and not only to us, but to our communities and even our nation. We live in turbulent, being nice here and being PC. We live in turbulent and uncertain times. The world's a freaking mess, y'all. We see division, confusion, chaos. It's all around us. But like, imagine what could happen if more people, starting with us, you and me, you and your closest friends, you and your prayer warrior sisters, your mom, my mom, our people. What if we all got clear headed and focused through the spiritual practice of fasting? If we imagine a nation where God's people are strong and disciplined and in tune with his voice, fasting has the power to break chains, not just in our personal lives, but on a much larger scale. When we clear out the distractions, whether it's sugar, technology, or just plain busyness, we open ourselves up to hearing God more clearly. And that clarity can lead to powerful change in our families, our communities, beyond. We have the ability to turn the tide. And fasting is a power move. It's also something God calls us to do. Yes, it's uncomfortable. But that's the point. Growth happens when we lean into discomfort, not when we shy away from it. So here's my challenge for you, my challenge for y'all. As we prepare for this group sugar fast, this will be my second year doing it. Let's get real. Instead of a sugar fast, I'm kind of calling it like a freedom fast this year. It's similar to the sugar fast we did last year. It is focusing on breaking free from the chains of sugar and other distractions that hold us back from our purpose, from the things that are important to us. It's going to be so great. I'm so excited about it. It is an online program, but I promise you, it is not your standard online program that you're used to. I'm going to require that you show up. This is not going to be something that you just sign up for and never do, or sign up for and do half-ass. I'm going to require you to be all in on this. So ask yourself this question. Think about it. Meditate on this question for a little bit. Where have I been too soft? Where am I letting distractions, food, chemicals, sugar, busyness keep me from living my full purpose, vitality, and potential in life? What is keeping me back from me fulfilling God's plan in my life right now? I want you to sit with that, because I do believe that we know, if you were to get honest with yourself and really ask, what do I need right now? What needs to go? And bring it to God. Ask Him to show you what needs to go. What do you need to let go of? What do you need to ease your hands of holding the reins so tightly on? Because we aren't in control. And we need to just release that and acknowledge that and remember that. Right? Ask yourself, are you willing to fight? Not just for your health, but for the purpose God has placed in your life. Because the enemy is banking on you staying stuck. He's banking on you just floating through life, distracted, squirrel, squirrel, bouncing from one shiny object to the next. If he could keep us from fulfilling God's plan for our life, that's a win in his book. He wants us to believe we don't have time, that we don't have power, and that we're just too busy. But we do have time. We do have power, and we do have a calling for something that's bigger than busyness. So, I am suggesting that the time is now. The time is now to make some changes, before the chaos of the holidays takes over, before the distractions drown out what really matters. Let's pause. Let's hold up that mirror. Let's take a look at what's really going on in there. My group fast, the sugar freedom fast. I think I need to come up with a better name. Sugar freedom fast, fasting from sugar freedom. The group fast, whatever it's going to be called, something like that. It starts November 4th. It is going to last 21 days. 21 days isn't that long. It's not even a whole month. It's November 4th to November 25th. We start right after Halloween and we're done before Thanksgiving. And I promise you, I know I said this, it's going to be unlike any other group program you've done. And I'm saying it again. It's going to be so good. I'm so excited for it, you guys. And all you have to do is show up for yourself for 21 days. 21 days of showing up and doing the work. And it's not going to be hard. It's just going to require that you show up. And I promise, if you do consistently show up for 21 days and do the work, you will experience breakthrough in your life in some area. I promise it. Okay? Because things happen when you become deliberate and intentional with your actions. And doing it with a group just 10x's it. I'm going to close this out today with a passage. It's Matthew 7:13-14. Enter through the narrow gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the road that leads to destruction, and many enter through it. But small is the gate and narrow the road that leads to life, and only a few find it. This verse just fits for the message today. The world offers an easy, broad path of indulgence and quick fixes and distractions that pull us away from our true purpose and from the things that truly matter. And it's tempting to follow the crowd down the road, but the narrow gate, the path to life, it's found through discipline and intentional choices and drawing closer to God. And during this sugar fast, we are choosing the narrow road. We are saying no to the things that harm us and yes to the small intentional steps that lead to true health and clarity and connection with God. And it's not always easy, but it is worth it. This fast isn't just about food. It's about clearing the clutter in our minds, finding focus, and entering through that narrow gate to experience the fullness of life that we were made to have, that God desires for us. So I hope you'll join me. Registration link is in the show notes. Again, we start November 4th. I'm going to cut off registration a couple days before we start because you'll need time to look at the guidebook and prepare. So check it out, and I will see you in the sugar fast. Thanks for listening to Real Health Transformations. I hope this episode met you where you are and helped you cut through the noise, maybe get a little closer to the real practical solutions you've been looking for. Remember, everything shared here is for education and for inspiration, not medical advice. I am not your doctor. I am a podcast host. I am your encouraging digital friend. Always do what is right for you and consult a trusted healthcare provider before making any big changes. If you loved what you heard today, please subscribe, share with a friend, and let's keep having the conversations that matter without the fluff. Find me on Instagram. Let's keep this conversation going and keep questioning things. Keep finding what works for you. You've got this. I'll see you next time.